All right, here we go. So yesterday, I kind of mentioned something, but when I finished the class, it clarified and crystallized more in my mind, and it became a peladika chiddush, which means a wondrous insight. We started saying yesterday, Atah Gibor le'olam. You are a gibor. Gevura, that's strength, power. And then it goes on to say, Mechalkel chaim bechesed. You sustain things with chesed. That's the opposite of gevura. Mechayei metim berachamim rabim. Rachamim, loads of rachamim. Samech noflim. You uplift the fallen. Reifei cholim. You heal. And like, where's the gevura? Gevura's strength. It should say, Atah Gibor le'olam Hashem. You are strong. You smash the mountains and you win the wars. And so I've forgotten exactly how I said it yesterday. I think I basically did say that idea, but it just crystallized. Hashem is Mechalkel Chaim B'Chesed. He sustains everything with love and kindness. And He heals the sick. His essence, His midah, His character trait is He wants to heal the sick and He wants to release the bound. He just wants everything to be perfect for everyone all the time. He wants to get people wives and children and money, and Hashem just wants to give everyone everything all the time. But really, He knows that that's not necessarily the best. There's a bigger picture. This person might need to be sick, and this person might need, we just don't know. So what is His gevura? Is it restraint? Is it holding back? It's saying, I want to give you everything, but I know it's not good for you, so I'm holding back. So I'm not going to be rafech. But I want to be. That's my that's my midah. I want to give everything to everyone, but I have to use some self-restraint, some strength. We said it yesterday, but it just crystallized more. So really what gevura means, people think gevura means beating other people. But we know it says in Pirkei Avot, Ezehu Gibor, who is the strong one. HaKovesh et Yitzro, the person who controls themselves, the person who learns to deal with themselves. So the ultimate expression of gevura isn't smashing up stuff. The ultimate expression of gevura is holding back. You've got to have lots of gevura, which is your boundaries. I've got my boundaries, I've got restraint. Important. So that was yesterday. Gibor, Atah Gibor. Number 3. I'm so glad everyone bought their Sidurim. Amazing to see, and you're taking notes in the side. Unbelievable. Atah Kadosh. We're not going to spend that long on this one because we've mentioned these ideas several times, but let's just quickly. Atah Kadosh v'Shimcha Kadosh. You are holy, and your name is holy. So at this point we have to define holy, and we have to define the difference between Hashem and Hashem's name. Because at the very end of Tefillah, the end of Shachris, we say, Bayam hahu yihiyeh Hashem echad u'shmo echad. At the end of days, when Mashiach comes and we're all conscious, then God will be one and His name will be one. Suggesting that God isn't one now, and His name isn't one now, or God and His name are not one now. So we got to understand that. And the holy ones praise you all day. So very quickly, what does Kadosh mean? Basic meaning of Kadosh, and you'll see why we say basic, is separate. It's a bit different. This thing is holy. So if you're going to offer an offering in the temple, you've got 100 goats. You take one of the goats and you separate it, and you say, this one's different. It's more lofty, it's more sacred, it stands out. It's not now just physical, it's now spiritual. It has an aspect of spirituality which separates it from the physical world. That's what it means to be holy. And it's a very high level. That's what we want to achieve. We want to be holy. It says in the Torah that you should be kadoshim tihiyu. You should be holy. Why? Ki ani kadosh. So Hashem is holy, so we also have to be holy. So in one level, what does that mean? You've got to separate yourself from whatever your friends, not whatever your friends are doing, but in general, you shouldn't be going to that club. That's not a holy thing. You shouldn't be looking at things that are going to bring you down into animalistic, physical stuff. You shouldn't be walking past clothes stores or shoe stores and looking and being like, I'd love those trainers. That's not. You've got to be separate from this these lower physical material things. Yes.
It's really cool that this comes in so soon after we just recited B'idem Kedoshim Leilo Beichem Emet, in the paragraph about our tzitzis, because it's hard. We have things like wandering eyes, but Hashem knows that about us, and so He gave us a mitzvah. It helps us have something as a reminder. So help us be Kedoshim.
Sorry, when did we talk about tzitzit?
In Shema, in the paragraph about tzitzis.
Oh, just fine. Yes, absolutely. There's a general theme here that a holy person is someone who's a little bit above, not arrogant, by the way, not putting themselves above other people, but not steeped in the material physicality of this world that is actually disconnecting you from spirituality. Did you have a question?
Yes. My question was, you mentioned at the end of prayer you say,
Shemo Echad,
and then does that mean?
well, we're going to get to that.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So at the end of days, God will be holy, but now He's not.
It doesn't say anything about holy. We've got two different things. We're doing two different things.
God is one.
First, we're talking about what is holiness,
Okay.
and then we're going to talk about what is God and what is His name. Because it says, Atah Kadosh v'shimcha Kadosh. You are holy and your name is holy.
Okay,
So we now ask two questions. What does holy mean? So at the moment we're just focusing on the question of what does holy even mean. And then after that we'll answer your question, which is, well, what's the difference between His name and His essence, and what does it mean that they will be one, and what does it mean that they're not one yet?
Okay.
That's going to be...
Is He one yet? He is one.
Well, we're not there yet. It's good that you're yearning for God's oneness. And you're like, what do you mean? Of course God's one. How can He not be one? But we do say, then God will be one, His name will be one. So clearly He isn't. But obviously He is. Stay tuned in about 4 minutes.
Okay.
So the basic meaning of Kadosh is separate, but we're going to go through this quickly because we've done it before in this series. We say a phrase at least 3 times a day, which is Kadosh, Kadosh, Kadosh. Hashem Tzavakot, Melech Haaretz Kvodo. What does that mean? It means, in fact, we say it in Kedusha, in the repetition of this very bracha, just as a technical side point. When the Chazan, when the person leading the prayer is repeating the Shemoneh Esrei, at this point there's this extra special, it's called Kedusha, where he says something and we repeat and we say something after him. If you're still in the middle of your Shemoneh Esrei, you don't have to stop your Shemoneh Esrei, you have to stop and listen to this. For the rest of the repetition, when he's saying the prayer again, you can just carry on praying. But for this, you have to stop, be together, talk about that a little bit. But in the repetition, it says, Kadosh, 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 Hashem Tzavakot, holy, 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 God, Master of legions. Melech Haaretz Kvodo. The whole world is filled with His kavod. The whole world is filled with His kadosh, with His kavod. Now, kavod has a few meanings. We're going to call it glory, His honor. Comes related to the word kaved, which means heavy, which means His presence. His kavod. I feel the whole world, every single atom, quark of existence is filled with Hashem. Does that sound separate to you? You just said, if you're going to translate Kadosh as separate, you're going to say separate, separate, separate. The whole world is filled with your kavod.
It's not.
That's not separate at all.
Separate. He's the only one who can be like that. So
Well, obviously not, because He tells us to be Kadosh too. Kadoshim to you have to be Kadosh. So what we're seeing here is that Kedusha is not complete separation, i.e. going to sit in a cave your whole life, or a temple your whole life, and not get married, and not have nice food, and not be involved in the world. That's not actually called holy in Jewish thought. That what is a tzaddik, a fully righteous person? They have a family, and they're paying the rent, and they're involved in the world, and So Kedusha is this balance of physical and spiritual. It's someone who is very, very present and involved in the physical world. I'm changing diapers, and I'm paying the rent, and I'm doing everything I need to do. But whilst I'm doing it, although I'm very present, my consciousness is above it. I'm not being controlled by it. I'm not being brought down by it. I'm not chasing it. I'm using it actually, and I'm uplifting it to become a way to connect to God, even the changing the diapers and cleaning the floor and everything I'm doing, and doing sport and everything I do. It's not like, we've spoken about this a lot, spirituality isn't only when you're praying and meditating and doing mitzvahs, learning Torah. Spirituality is when you're doing kickboxing and punching people in the face. Tuesday mornings, a bit sore on my hip today. So spirituality is a way of seeing the world. It's a consciousness. In everything we do, how I have lunch, how I speak to people. It's not like when I'm learning Torah in the Beis Midrash, then I'm kind of spiritual. But as soon as it's time for lunch, I'm like pushing in the line there, and I'm like, and eating too much. Yeah? No, even my waiting for my food and eating my food and choosing what food I'm going to eat is an expression of spirituality. So Kedusha, there's something else in Jewish thought called prishut. Prishut, that means separation. That means I'm actually literally going to pull myself back. Pasha, I'm going to lafrish, means to literally separate. Kadosh doesn't mean separation. Prishut means separation. However, prishut is a stepping stone on the path to Kedusha. In order to really be able to be fully in the world, but in a spiritual way, you have to have pulled yourself away from the craving. If you're still craving something, if you see that chocolate cake and you really like, I have to, if like your mouth actually waters a bit, or you walk down past the shuk and you smell fries, and you're like, those are good fries, and you're literally like, you're drawn towards something, then you can never eat it b'kedusha. You can say, no, I'll say a bracha. It's cute, and you should say a bracha, you have to say a bracha. But don't rely on that, don't say, because really you're just saying the bracha so you can stuff your face with that thing. It's when you're not so craving, when I don't, you know what, I'll take it or leave it, chocolate cake. I like the taste of chocolate cake, but I love tefillin much more. I'm so obsessed with tefillin that chocolate cake is just not that interesting to me anymore. It's like sugar and gluten, feels good for a minute, don't feel that good afterwards. I'm just not, but once you're not drawn into it, then you can actually enjoy the taste of it in a holy way. Because you're not being, we just said Kedusha is being involved, but not being controlled. In the world, God is in the world, but He's not controlled by the world. So we have to do the same. So it's only, and there's marital sanctity. There's many, we probably won't talk about it now, but that's also a thing. How you are with your wife, it can't be an animalistic, crazy thing. It's got to be, in fact, it's the holiest thing there is, because it's the most intimate physicality you can have, and therefore can be the most animalistic, selfish, disgusting expression of physicality. And therefore it has the potential to be the most beautiful and highest and mystically beautiful expression of physicality. That's why obviously it can only happen after you got married. Only after there's a spiritual bond. Only after the two halves of your neshamas have come back together is it even a question that you would partake of that. But in terms of money, we say you can have money, just don't be controlled by money. Don't get arrogant, don't get greedy. Give at least 10% away. Use your money to do good things in the world. You can have nice food, just make sure it's kosher. Make a bracha before you eat it. Make a bracha after you eat it. So Kedusha means, yes, I'm involved in the world. I have money, and I eat food, and I have physical intimacy at the right time with the right person. But I'm doing it as a spiritual act. That's what Kedusha means. So it says, Atah Kadosh, Hashem is Kadosh. What does that mean? Hashem is completely beyond time and space, but Hashem is completely within time and space. Completely, literally, there is no such thing as matter. And finally, the quantum physics universe has caught up with the Kabbalistic universe from 3,000 years ago. That says that this stender isn't made of wood. Well, it is, but wood is made of atoms, and atoms are made of quarks, and quarks are made of energy, and energy is made of consciousness. And it's like, So it means God's so completely here and completely involved, but yet he's not drawn down by it and into it and loses his, and he's above. V'shimcha Kadosh. What's the difference between God and his name? I think we mentioned this the other day briefly. What's the difference between God and God's name? Yes.
So we're mentioning in my other class, we're talking about Baruch Shem Kavod, how the Shem, the name, is sort of like the manifestation of ways that God could be related to in a physical world.
Woo! I like that. So basically, the way it is taught is that if you're alone, you don't need a name. If you lived on a desert island, you would not need a name. You just wouldn't. Who would call you? A name is a way to relate to someone, to call to someone, to have a relationship. And all the names of Hashem, and there are many different names of Hashem. There's Yud and Hey and Vav and Hey, and there's Shin Dalet Yud, and there's Aleph Hey and Yud and Hey, and there's just Yud and Hey, and there's lots of different names of Hashem. There's Hashem Savakot, Hashem Sagor, Aleph Lam. There are lots of different names. So our sages teach us the different names just represent different hanhagot, which means behaviors, different ways that Hashem reveals himself into the world. So Yud and Hey and Vav and Hey is more loving kindness, and Elokim is more strict justice, and there's different ways to relate to Hashem. This is why there's a whole school of biblical criticism that says clearly several different people wrote the Torah. It's not because there's different names of God. So that tribe used that name of God, and these people used that name of God, and then a redactor came along 2,500 years ago and just put all their texts together. And I know, it's so stupid. I'm called father, husband, son, brother, teacher, sensei, taxpayer, tennis player, but there's only one of me. But those represent different aspects of me. So Hashem's names are how he's revealed in the world through his actions. Now, in the current era of not open revelation, how Hashem appears in the world is actually different to his essence. Even in the Gevurah prayer, we said Hashem wants to be only loving and kind, but we don't see that. Hashem wants to protect us from all our enemies, but we don't see that. We see that there's this difference between Hashem's essence and how that's manifest in the world. Now, I've been saying, and I think I'm writing a whole dissertation on it, it depends on us. It depends on us. And I'll bring you very many sources, but if we act with mercy, the Gemara says, if we act with mercy, then Hashem will act with mercy. So we actually get to arouse his name. What name do we want Hashem to use with us? The most powerful example is the 13 Midot HaRachamim. It says in the Torah that if ever we're in trouble, we have to say the 13 Midot HaRachamim. Hashem, Hashem, Karachum, V'chanun, Erech, Apayim, Rav Chesed, V'emet, Notzeh Chesed, Lalafim, Notzeh Avon, Pesha, V'chata, V'nakeh, which we spend the whole of the first 10 days of Tishrei saying. And we're doing a lot of that. And Elul. Why are we doing that? Because that arouses his compassion. So it's up to us. Hakol milamata. It's all up to us. But it says at the end of, so at the moment there's a separation. God's full power of his essence, which is only love and revelation, is not manifest. So when it says Bayam Hahu Yihei Hashem Echad U'Shemo Echad, it means his manifestation and his hanhaga, his way that he's revealed in this world, will be the same. He will be revealed in his full glory, in his full loving kindness, connection. That's how it will be revealed.
Is it that it's not manifest, or it's that we are not perceptive?
No, it's not manifest. Some people say, no, it's just hidden. It is manifest, but we can't see it. Not true. It's part of my dissertation. It's not there. Actually, we see it's not there. If it was there, then October the 7th wouldn't have happened. It's very clear it's not there.
But because the Gevurah you talked about, Hashem is restraining the fullness of
The Gevurah is Hashem restraining the fullness of his hashpa'ah, Says, the Ramchal says in Dasut Tfunos, a game-changing book, that there's different amounts of shefa coming down. And Hashem restrains his shefa, but based on us. It's up to us. Now finally we say at the end of days, if we don't bring Mashiach consciousness ourselves, then Hashem's just going to have mercy and just say, okay, I'll just do it for you. Which would be a shame. But that's what's going on here. So it's up to us to reveal Hashem in the world. Brilliant. Yeah.
Real quick, can you remind me what Elohim stands for?
Elohim is more of a strength, din, judgment. In fact, even in Hebrew, Elohim sometimes refers to judges. In the Torah, where it says Elohim, it means a judge. So Elohim is more a name of strict judgment. In fact, it says, Bereshit bara Elohim et hashamayim et haaretz. The Elohim created the world. Other people read it a bit differently. Bereshit bara, in the beginning, Hashem created Elohim. Bereshit bara Elohim. Anyway, but then there's a whole midrashim about Hashem was going to create the world with strict justice, but he realized that it couldn't survive on strict justice. So he switched, and then it says Hashem Elohim, and then so the name Hashem comes right. So, Elohim, strict justice. Yud and Hey and Vav and Hey, more merciful, chill. Just Aleph Lamed, Kel, is a loving, more of a loving, chill name. They're different names. But we see that Hashem isn't fully manifested in the world here. And that's okay. That's what we do. What else are you doing here? Do you have anything better to do with your life?
How is
I'm going to walk around.
Part of Elohim, because the Shorish exists at the beginning there.
Yes, because Elohim becomes a plural.
Yeah.
What's that all about? How can you have a plural name of God? Kadorim, Yeladim, Im is plural. It says the basic actual translation is many powers, or all the powers. Hashem is all the powers. That's why in Shema we say Shemoneh Esrei Hashem Elokeinu, which comes from Elokim, Hashem Echad. But don't think that there's lots of Hashems or two different Hashems. There's only one Hashem. So that Hashem is Hashem, Elokim is Elokim. They're different manifestations. By the way, even the name Yud and Hey and Vav and Hey isn't God's essence. You can't speak about God's essence. So even Yud and Hey and Vav and Hey is a Hanhaga, is an expression. It just happens to be the highest, closest to Hashem's essence that we could comprehend, name of Hashem. But even that's not Hashem's actual name. And then you'll see, and we do Tzirufim, where you take the name Elokim and you mix it in with the name Yud and Hey and Vav and Hey. So it's like Yud, Aleph, Hey. You can start, but that's not for today. We'll do that tomorrow. And the holy ones. Who are the holy ones?
Us.
So lots of people like to say the angels, but they're wrong. They're not wrong, but us. We're much higher than angels. Don't forget that. People think, wow, angels. So there's Kedushim. A basic meaning could be angels, which says that even the angels who are completely spiritual and God conscious, they also just like praise Hashem all the time. They're like, I can't believe it. You'd think we're physical beings, so we're held back from truly seeing Hashem's greatness. So we praise Hashem. But an angel really sees Hashem's greatness, and this is saying, even them, they're just like, oh my goodness. You know, I am a Makom Kvoidai, where they can't even grasp Hashem, that's cool. But a higher level it refers to Tzaddik As, which means two things. It means that are they tzaddikim, are they kedoshim because they praise Hashem? Or do they praise Hashem because they're tzaddikim? What you really want to do is, a large amount of your thought, content of your consciousness you should be thinking about how great Hashem is, not how great a certain football player is. What are you thinking about? So holy people, what are they thinking about all day? They're praising Hashem all day. They're just like, oh my goodness, amazing. You just walk around, you see your legs. It's like, wow, that's pretty cool. Everything's pretty cool. So holy people praise Hashem, and it's the other way around. People who train themselves to praise Hashem all day, they become holy. So you want to train yourself. How are you going to become a holy person who is involved in the world but not dragged down by it, and therefore emulates Hashem? And it's the Kedoshim who are bringing Kedusha into the world, by the way. Is Hashem revealing Kedusha in the world? Not really. We are. We are Hashem's representative. You're a shaliach. You're here on a mission. Do you understand that? Hashem sent you down into this physical reality on a mission. You're not just here trying to fill your time until you die. You're a messenger. You have a mission to perform. Your mission is to bring holiness into the world. And that's why Kedushim b'chol yom v'ruach hazeh. Baruch atah Hashem should pass out saying those words. Atah Kadosh. The Holy God. It's great. Now these first three brachas are basically praise. No request in this. So in general, we break up the Shemoneh Esrei into praise, request, and thanks. Although at the end we'll see there's only modim is really thanks, and then we go back to kind of requesting shalom. In general, this is the end of the first section. And every prayer begins with these three. On Shabbat, on all festivals, you basically have these three is the beginning, and then the three at the end we have, and then in the middle that changes on Shabbat and festivals and stuff. But this is the foundation of everything, and what we basically be doing is just stating the reality. Stating, we are children of Aram, Yitzhak, and Yaakov. You are our God. You're great. You are controlling the world with strength and chesed and Kedusha. And you and I both have to be Kadosh. We have to emulate you in the world. This is who we are. This is who you are. And this is how we have to emulate you in the world. That just came to me, but I think it's true.
Yeah, that's it.